Virginia. Back to one of our lead stories now, and this goes to the heart of the Benghazi matter. Now, newly declassified documents show that President Obama's closest military advisors knew within 15 minutes it was terrorism on September 11th. And that comes from General Carter Ham, the commander of military forces in all of Africa. Ohio Congressman Brad Wenstrup was asking questions of General Ham at that hearing that is now public, and he's with me live. And Congressman, good morning to you. Should point out you also served at Abu Ghraib for a time in Iraq as well. Here is part of the back and forth that you had on June 26 of last year. It reads, and it's lengthy, so bear with me. As a military person, I'm concerned that someone in the military would be advising that this was a demonstration. I would hope that our military leadership would be advising this was a terrorist attack. Ham. Again, sir, I think, there was some preliminary discussion about, maybe there was a demonstration, but I think at the command, I personally, and I think the command very quickly got to the point that this was not a demonstration, this was a terrorist attack. You follow, and you would have advised as such if asked. Would that be correct? And Ham's answer, well, and with General Dempsey and Secretary Panetta, that is the nature of the conversation we had. Yes, sir. And you thought, what then?
Well, Bill, as you mentioned, I served in Iraq, and I was in a place that was under attack 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes more. So I understand the differences between the types of attacks. Also, we had demonstrations outside of our walls. So I had a good understanding of the situation. And at the time when this happened, I was not in office. I had just won an election, and I'm watching this like everyone else. And as I watched this, I thought to myself, who is calling this a demonstration? I hope that our military isn't calling it a demonstration. So as I got to Congress and we started having some of these hearings, I had the opportunity to go to a couple of these classified briefings. Although it's not my committee, I made an effort to get there to ask these very questions. Okay,
now, I mean, your general reaction had to be what then if he's using the word terrorism within 15 minutes?
Well, exactly right, and I was relieved to hear that there weren't military advisors that were calling this a demonstration gone out of control. So it pretty much answered what I suspected all along, that we were in some ways being given a different rendition of what actually happened that day and what the military thought was happening that day.
All right, let me take you a month further, okay? July 31, again, it was top secret. It's now been declassified. This is the Marine Corps Colonel George Bristol. He ran special ops in Africa. This is shorter. So this is you talking. So no one from the military was ever advising that you are aware of that this was a demonstration gone out of control. It was always considered an attack. His answer, yes, sir. On the United States, you say, yes, sir, we referred to it as the attack. So
and that was basically,
Brad, but yeah. How did it move, Congressman, from that type of framing to a video that was told to the American people and the rest of the world?
Well, that's the real thing that we need to discover, isn't it? I'd love to know who was in the room that had those conversations that said, this is what we're going to tell the American people took place. I would really like to know the depth of that conversation. I think the American people would like to know the depth of that conversation and why they came out and said that. Because I didn't think that there could possibly be anyone in the military that was sitting down advising that this is what took place, a demonstration as opposed to an attack.
Okay, but there was a conversation we now know at the Pentagon. Moments before, Secretary Panetta and who else went over to the White House to advise the president? It was a previously arranged meeting.
Well, yeah, it was almost by happenstance that that meeting took place, right? They just happened to be at the same place at the same time. Again, going back to my line of questioning is I wanted to know if anyone during the course of events was calling this a demonstration. So what happened after that, I think the administration has to answer to the American people on why they came out with what they came out with.
Would Leon Panetta know that answer? Because based on these transcripts, they fingered it, they identified it as terrorism, they went to the White House that same afternoon, and one would assume they delivered the information they did. So how did it go from that to something entirely different?
That's what the American people deserve an answer on. As you heard General Ham say, that calling it a terrorist attack is what he and Panetta discussed, that's what they felt it was. And that was the conversation that they had. And I'm glad he was forthright in coming forward and saying that.
Quickly, in the few seconds I have left, this is top secret stuff. It's now declassified. How much more is coming out? Can you answer that?
Well, I think that the bulk of it has been released. There may be some more. I haven't gone through the whole thing to know if they're still holding some back, so we'll wait and see, but there may be more.
All right, we're out of time. Brad Wenstrup, sir, thank you. Congressman from Ohio.